WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk. With the Pioneer softball season coming to an end, here to break down the ups and downs of the season, we have Andrew, Jimmy, Steve, and Anthony. Some jokesters today. Gentlemen, before we go anywhere else, let's talk about the seniors and let's celebrate them as well. We had a lot of seniors do a lot of good things for this softball team. So, Jimmy, we'll start with you. If you had to highlight one senior, who are you going to highlight?
I'm going to highlight Caitlin Monaghan. We're going to take a look at her stats here. Tied for the team lead in RBI. See a .349 batting average on the season. 9 doubles, also tied for the team lead. 20 RBIs and a dinger. You know, she really cut down on the strikeouts from last season. She had more walks this season compared to last season. That leads to high on base percentage that we've seen from her. Really nice senior season for Caitlin Monaghan.
It says 1 home run there, but it should be like 5. Every game I've called by Caitlin Monaghan, she's always hitting the orange at Pioneer softball field. Steve.
Yeah, you know, I've been our #1 fan all season. I have to chop the mozzarella one more time on the desk. Samory. We're going to pick in Annunziato here. Academic All-District announced this week as well. A .376 batting average, a 1.039 OPS, 9 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 critical home runs for the Pioneers this season. What a way to go out to end your year.
Anthony?
How are you not going with Carly McMagic, Steve? The phrase you coined, Carly McMagic on the year, 4 home runs, 20 RBIs, an OPS of .832, and hitting just a tad under .300. She has been great as a graduate student. She has really stepped up since last season and the year before that. And if she does come back, she's going to be a great force on this Pioneer team.
Andrew?
I'm going to go with someone who's way overlooked on the desk this year, and that's Lauren Navair, the senior outfielder. She had a phenomenal senior season. She hit .413 with a .920 OPS. 45 hits, 22 runs, and 15 ribbies. She was 6th in the NJAC in batting average. She was an honorable mention for the All-NJAC team. She should have made that team. I don't know how she was only an honorable mention. She's someone that coach could trust whenever you needed her, whether she was at the top of the lineup or the bottom of the lineup. She was getting on base for you. She was doing great things.
And speaking of seniors, with a lot of them leaving, just like me and Steve will after this episode, you guys have to step up, just as we have to see the underclassmen at the softball team and the baseball team for that instance as well step up. So, Steve, we're going to go to you. If you had somebody to step up next year, who's it going to be?
I'm going to pick the second baseman, Haley Weinberger, Samory. 13 RBIs this season, .310 slugging percentage, 3 double plays turned in the middle infield. That's not easy to do in softball with that distance between the bases. And somebody who's stepped up in the field, diving for balls all over the place. Web Gem City, as some people keep calling her. She's stepped up in a big way fielding. I think the bat comes with that next year, and you're going to see a big impact player.
Andrew?
I'm going to go with the junior utility man, Gabby Brancaccio. She had a 5.42 ERA and 2.27 WHIP in 20 innings pitched. She was someone that Coach Jacobson would put in when she was in a jam, and she'd always get her out of it. We saw her play in the outfield towards the second half of the season. She also was able to hold her own there. She's a great utility player for the Nears, and I expect her to have a big role next year in the outfield on the pitching staff.
Anthony?
You know, Jalen Miller and Lexi Corio got a lot of focus on the pitching side, but I'm going to go with Lindsay Acker. She's a freshman. She had a 4.81 ERA. She was kind of up and down at times, and she finished the season actually hurt. But she's going to come back next year, hopefully healthy, and she'll get back to what she was earlier in the season. She can really take a step forward in her second year, lead the Pioneers to a couple more wins.
Jimmy?
I'm going to keep it with the freshman. Give me the catcher, the Kylie Cannon, as I like to call her. Really has a great defensive presence at the catching position. You saw her freshman this season, .275 batting average, more experience against NJAC pitching. That will only go up. The Pioneers were 2-0 when she hit an extra base hit this season. So when she hits well, Pioneers win.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see what the underclassmen will do next year, and even for the seniors who may be returning. So the season didn't go exactly how the Pioneers wanted it to, but I think there's some positives we could take out of this season. But Anthony, what do you think the Pioneers need to improve on next season to get better?
So overall, somewhere we're going to look at the Pioneers stacked from this past season. But there's a couple things that you can look at for the Pioneers. They see at .280, they're scoring 4.3 runs a game. Their ERA is 4.04. A whip of 1.63 and 8 home runs on the season, which honestly, the home runs were there for the Pioneers when you think about it. They had a decent amount of power. The one thing I look at, they need more consistency out of pitching. You know, there are times where the pitching was up and then the pitching was down, and I get that when you play tougher opponents, the pitching is obviously going to struggle a little bit more because the opponents you're playing are better and they're harder to get out. And I get that, but I think Lindsay Acker next year, as I said, her return should really help that out. Another full season out of Jalen Miller. Lexi Corio will be here for her junior year. Brancaccio as Andrew touched on, and then also the recruitment's coming in. If Coach Coach Jacobson can recruit more freshmen that can really step up next year, that'll be a really, really big plus for the Pioneers.
Andrew?
I'm going to go with the bottom of the lineup. It seemed like time and time again the bottom of the lineup was not able to produce. It seemed like the top of the lineup was able to get on, and then once we got to the 6 through 9, they just weren't able to get on and get those runs driven in. The bottom of the lineup, it's key to winning your games. I mean, whether it's getting the first 5 batters in or it's getting on base for those first 5 batters to get you in. But I think this is because it was mostly freshmen and sophomores on that bottom of the lineup. I think now they're more familiar with college play and they're more familiar with NJAC play. I think they're going to step up next season and get a lot better.
Steve?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Samory, is improve with runners in scoring position. We saw games, I believe it was against Rutgers Camden. They get the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th inning. They have the opportunity right there to steal that game. They can't drive those runs in. And if you attack early, like we've been saying all year, guys, you can get the job done. Coach Jacobson, another year at the helm for this team, and consistent coaching for this team, finally, here for the Pioneers, is going to be something that could improve tremendously, not next year, but the years to come.
You got to think about it. Missed the COVID year, 3 coaches in 3 years for the Pioneers. So, like you said, she's going to be here next year. So, I'm looking forward to her, what she's going to do. I'm looking forward to what the Pioneers do as well. Jimmy?
With the Pioneers losing 4 of their key batters to graduation, I'm looking at the hitting and I'm looking at errors because there's going to be a lot in the close games next season. You can't be giving games away. How many times this year do we see like Jalen Miller go deep into a game in 1 or 2 run game scenario and a late inning error or botch play kind of cost the Pioneers a run or 2 that they were unable to get back. So not giving games away, like Steve said, taking advantage of your opportunities.
Yeah, I think one thing for me, I just want to see the Pioneers get out early because we saw them play at a deficit a lot this year. I think if the Pioneers could get out early in games, let Jalen Miller cook, let Lexi Corio cook, let Acker cook. Look, I think that the Pioneers could do well, but I think they need to get ahead in games first. And if they do that, I think they'll be successful next year. But it was a fun season covering not just the softball team, but covering the football team, both basketball teams, softball team, baseball team. We thank you guys for giving us recognition when you see us. So to all the athletes who talk to us, to all the athletes who say anything to us, I appreciate y'all, and we appreciate you guys as well. But coming up next on the desk, us Yankee fans love this one. They are killing all competition. Oh, we love it. And you know what else? It's always fun to stay at the YMCA. I think we got it. Stick around here on WP Sports Desk.
Let's go.